Oversaturation and the advent of a lot of accessibility in music can be a very good thing and a very bad thing, so let's talk about that. Throughout the decades, accessing music has become a lot more streamlined, with streaming platforms and even before that, a lot of different resources coming out to be able to easily access music. Record stores, things like MTV putting a ton of new music in front of people's eyes, and when the internet started to roll around, and specifically the 2000s and 2010s, it has never been easier to find new music that could fit your specific taste. Streaming platforms aside, YouTube really helped shape an entire generation when it came to music, and you have a ton of different independent platforms that are able to do it as well, websites for record labels, as well as platforms like Bandcamp, which allow independent artists to put out their music and merchandising in a way that puts the money directly in their pocket and allows them to communicate a lot easier with their fan bases. And then you stack on top of that all the social media that allows bands to market themselves better, to put themselves out there in front of people, whether you're talking about like Twitter or Instagram. Facebook back in the day was like a really big way, or even MySpace back in like the 2000s. And TikTok has not only put fresh blood on people's radars more times than I can even count, it's also bolstered and amplified the publicity that bigger bands were already getting, allowing a ton of new Gen Z and millennial type of bands to really make their mark via TikTok, and especially YouTube Shorts as well on YouTube. And also the diversifying labels that allows people to narrow down their searches a lot more. I know a lot of people don't really like heavy categorization and putting different genres and subgenres in boxes. The only argument that I would say to consider is the fact with so much shit out there and such a limited time to be able to consume the things you enjoy, I feel like having more specific terminology that allows people to find and sniff out the type of stuff that they enjoy saves them so much time that they would have to sift through stuff that they may not even like. And this can be a really good or a really bad thing depending on your perspective. The good of it is very objective. The pros of it, very objective. More accessibility, more music out there. It's easier to find new artists, especially underground artists. It's easier than it has ever been to be able to support underground artists and keep the underground alive. And you are never going to have a shortage of new music to listen to, no matter what subgenre you enjoy. And especially with so many different labels making it easier to access and know the type of music you're looking for on Bandcamp and Spotify, with things like Discover Weekly and playlists and things of that nature, you're never going to have a giant issue trying to find new releases that would fit your specific taste in music. All in all, music is a very easy to access thing across the entire spectrum, and that is very objective no matter how you cut it. The bad of it is the oversaturation, being overwhelmed with too much put in front of you. I do this YouTube channel and I get overwhelmed a lot with just how much music gets put in front of me through my email and through researching and trying to find new music to listen to. It can be a lot at points, and it can also make a lot of great records slip through the cracks when you don't necessarily have to go and seek out very specific things to find it. You are going to be met with a mountain of new material to look at. So instead of just specifically having to go out of your way to find something, so if you search that out, you're probably going to find it, you are going to be met with hundreds of new releases a year, and you're just objectively not going to have enough time to catch up with and listen to all of it. So it's going to let a lot of things slip through the cracks for you. And another issue that comes with heavy accessibility and oversaturation of every single subgenre of music ever, metal or otherwise, is it is going to make the bad very apparent, and it might sour your taste over time if you feel like it's becoming repetitive. Because while great music is more accessible than ever, I have to say it, bad music is just as accessible as that and more accessible than ever. So for every great new groundbreaking release, or just an album that doesn't reinvent the wheel but does it really fucking good, there are dozens, hundreds of copycat bands shadowing an old style in no unique way that sounds like dog shit. Bands with horrible production, bands that are very dime a dozen and cookie cutter, and you are going to be spending a lot of time sifting through that. And even with really good releases, if you are just consuming a ton of a specific subgenre because it is also accessible to you, you can become a little fatigued from listening to the same type of music. And so the general excitement you would feel for checking out a new release from a genre or subgenre that you really enjoy might start to wane a little bit and vanish, if not just fade, because you are listening to so so much music in that specific subgenre, even if it is exciting, even if it is groundbreaking, you are just constantly going to be surrounded with new releases and surrounded with music that might be to your liking, might not be, and even though it is going to be very accessible, it also can make you very exhausted, because the special feeling of discovering a new release, yeah, it may still be there, because when you listen to a record that really clicks, it's gonna really click, and that doesn't go away, but the specialness of being able to seek out and find new material is not necessarily to that same degree. And maybe it is for some people, but with so many different resources and playlists and TikTok and YouTube Shorts and social media and streaming platforms and Bandcamp and all of these other label websites and promotional things on email, it just becomes a little overwhelming. And I feel like it's more of a, oh, there's a new release, that's pretty cool. Oh, there's a new release, that's pretty cool. And less of like, wow, I went out of my way to dive deep into this specific subgenre and I found this really cool release that not many people know about. I want to talk about it, I want to share it with some people, and it's become even more so since I started this channel. Obviously, YouTube and Spotify and stuff, I was listening to that in like the mid 2010s, early 2010s, late 2000s for like YouTube and stuff, and MySpace and all that jazz. But I feel like nowadays it's even more so with TikTok and YouTube Shorts dominating so much marketing when it comes to new fresh bands and new fresh artists, both for metal and otherwise. And it feels like the culture and general lexicon for modern music, the tempo of it and rhythm of it, is very much more often than not defined by those platforms and what they are capable of doing for marketing. At the end of the day, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing, and there are pros and cons, and I think generally speaking, when it comes to different labels and categorization terminology, as well as the amount of resources, it's easier than ever to get into metal, different forms of music, and I think that is a very good thing. It is applying gateway bands all around you to where you are always going to be able to find something new to listen to. And if you don't necessarily have that much time to find new music or to listen to new music, so you feel a little tired about that, you are always going to have the resources necessary to be able to find new stuff. So it's just a matter of perspective if it is your type of tempo, and it comes down to like what your preference is for how you like to discover new music and what exactly you think both metal and music as a whole should be from a discovery process perspective. What are your guys' opinions of this general topic? Do you like this approach to music discovery, or do you prefer the old type? And how exactly do you find new music? I would love to hear it down in the comment section below. Agree or disagree, there is no wrong answer. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.